I'm so heartbroken. I'm having trouble accepting that next week we won't be seeing John. I'm not heartbroken because of the performances, because I think that just like last week's Snatch Game, everybody brought it to this Rusical challenge, okay? But because it was so good, the casualty was our baby, John Fedellaga. 6 queens remain, and the thing about that is it's really down to the wire at this point, so anybody could have gone home today and we still would have been so upset. On a positive note though, we got to see another beautiful, fabulous Drag Race Philippines episode. There was singing, there was dancing, there was a lot of heart, and there was also a lot of kumot. I'm gonna explain that later, so it's time for Drag-splaining Philippines. So we received comments from our Snatch Game video, and a lot of you provided added context to some of the jokes or some of the references, so thank you for that. And this is one of our favorites. So there was a joke there about Sarah Geronimo wanting big booties. So according to one of our subscribers, Chad, during Sarah Geronimo's 20th anniversary concert, she actually did make that joke of getting bigger bazongas, and she wanted to do these like Viva Max stuff. So it's funny, it's actually funny. Didn't change anything though. It still wasn't funny when Bench said it, but thank you so much for that piece of information. Now here's one from Ma Quan Ming from a foreign country. I'm not sure where, but they said, OMG, thank you for this. I was clueless for most of their reference jokes, but I still found it funny. But now you explained the references, it just made it funnier. And thank you for sending in that comment, because that's exactly why we were making that video. That's exactly why we're making these videos, because there's so much heart and there's so much humor in everything that these queens and the judges say, that we really want the world to be able to appreciate them as much as we are as Filipinos. Thank you so much for showing us so much love. We really appreciate it. As always, the episode started off with the girls returning from that elimination, and everyone was reeling from J Quinn's elimination. There was a lot of drama there, but at the same time, it was J Quinn's time to go, and I think everyone did agree. What's more important though is they just came off of a really iconic Snatch Game, one of the best in Drag Race history, in my humble opinion.
This is the most iconic Snatch Game!
So everybody was just ready to get on with the next challenge. But before that, they had to do a Drag Race Philippines mini challenge. So let's start explaining, because this challenge was based on a viral video here in the Philippines. Last year, there were clips from the acting workshop of showbiz personality Oji Diaz, where his students were practicing some passionate lines.
Hayop ka! May araw ka din! Mabubulo ka sa impyerno!
Hayop ka! May araw ka din! Mabubulo ka sa impyerno! This went viral and even entered meme territory.
Acting? Walang iya ka! May araw ka rin! Mabubulog ka sa impyerno!
Very good!
There was anger.
Hayop ka!
There was passion.
Mabubulo ka sa impyerno!
There was fire.
Mabubulo ka sa impyerno!
And it just caught on. And it's so funny how the queens, with the help of Mama Pao, delivered this challenge. It was all sorts of crazy, wacky, loud, and every single queen brought something to the table. Oh well, the floor. I think back to season 1, because one of the notes that a lot of Twitter people who are not from the Philippines said about that season was the queens were so loud.
Lady Morgana!
Probably the loudest cast in recent history.
Beautiful!
And this cast for this challenge does no help disproving that. We are just loud people, okay? For this challenge, Khianna once again won! Charot! If you don't know charot, well, we explained it in our past Vaklah Vocabulary, and there's a video about that. And at the very end of this video, we have another edition of Vaklah Vocabulary, so stay tuned for that. Okay, the real winner was Zymba Ding. Well deserved, because that crawl was like horror and comedy all at once. Now let's chat about the Maxie challenge. And it's the iconic Rusical. And this Drag Race Philippines Rusical is called Aawicked Kita.
Aawicked Kita, the Rusical.
What is that reference to? So in the Philippines, there is a song by Armida Sigionreina called Aawitan Kita, which in English means, I will sing you a song.
Aawitan kita.
So this song, over the decades, has become synonymous with like Filipino theater, Filipino performance, because it's a song from the 70s that has been performed in like variety shows. There were TV iterations of like a variety format that's more theater-centric. And it's so cute that they blended that concept with the idea of Wicked. I know that a lot of people, when it comes to musicals, whether it's from the US franchise, the Filipino franchise, whatever it is, everyone looks forward to the performances because these queens will always bring it. But another big part of this challenge starts way before the queens step on stage,
Which is?
assigning the roles.
Finally,
So because Zymba won the challenge, she was tasked to cast everyone in their rightful roles. And I would say I think it was pretty easy. Some people offered to be certain roles, but some of them did audition.
audition.
Eventually, they all figured it out and everyone got their roles. After that, of course, they had to learn choreography through the help of teacher Cecil Martinez. Teacher Cecil is the dancer who has choreographed the Philippine productions of famous Broadway musicals like Hairspray, Sweeney Todd, Legally Blonde, and a lot more. Now let's get into their performances one by one. Well, this is not one. One by one. Now for the runway, the category was Kum Hot Couture. And in the Philippines, the word kumot means blanket, or like bedspreads or bed sheets. And all of them went for the iconic Filipino bedsheet pattern. Because this fabric has become so iconic in the last few years, because it's so quintessentially Filipino, it has become shirts, socks, totes, everything. This runway category is so fun because you get to see that exact same fabric interpreted by these fabulous queens. Miss Maxie got the role of Miss Diamond, who I think was the teacher in that school. And honestly, I thought Maxie was gonna be a lot more of a star because she has a lot of experience in theater. She was the lead in the Filipino musical Maxie, which in turn was based on the queer coming-of-age movie Ang Pagdadalaga ni Maximo Oliveros, or in English, The Blossoming of Maximo Oliveros. We actually did a video about that movie on this channel. It's kind of crazy how a lot of the Drag Race references we've already done videos of. But back to Maxie, I don't think she underperformed. I think it was the role. It was just a smaller role. She didn't really get a lot of chance to shine. Also, this was an incredible set, okay? Every single one was really performing their heart out. By the end of it, I was like, who are they gonna put in the bottom? Moving on to Khianna. Khianna, during the entire episode, really wanted the role of Elvie. So I knew that she wanted to prove that she's still a star, even without that big role. And she did. Every time she was on screen, my eye was on that. But like Maxie, she was also safe. And again, I don't think it was because she underperformed. That just was a small role with not a lot of opportunity to show off. Regardless, she was amazing. Her runway though, first of all, let me just address it. So let's start explaining. The most prominent feature of that runway performance was the arinola. I guess it's a chamber pot. You know, when you don't have access to plumbing, that's where you relieve yourself. Just number one, okay. Do people do number two there? That's why the judges were taken aback when she was taking a sip, because it was supposed to represent bodily fluids, if you know what I mean. She also referenced katol, which in the Philippines is a mosquito coil. So it's this coily green thing made up of materials that when you burn, it releases smoke that repels mosquitoes. Khianna also brought out a kulambo, or a mosquito net. So in some areas where the Philippines, where people prefer to live with open windows to sleep at night for ventilation, to provide them with a protection from mosquitoes, they have mosquito nets or the kulambo. Khianna really wanted to complete the package of sleeping with the kumot. Now let's talk about Angel. When I was watching Angel as Cindy offered, I didn't actually think that she was being upstaged or anything. Again, I just thought it was one of the smaller roles. So she didn't get the chance to shine like in a role like Elvie or Glenda. But I do understand what the judges were saying, that, you know, it's kind of, I guess, repetitive in the sense that she's sexy. It was a sexy role. Now, Angel's look was not one of the strongest, but it still looked really good. I think it flattered her body so well. I just wish the thing on her back was a lot more interesting. It just felt a little random. I wish there was more of a story to the attachment that she was carrying. But other than that, she never has looked bad on this runway. Now let's talk about John Fedellaga. Truly, when I was watching her performance, I did not think that she was even gonna be in danger of going home. I thought the three of them with Khianna and Angel, I thought they were fabulous. I thought that they delivered. I didn't feel like any single one was outshining the other. So I don't know what happened here, but again, I will keep saying this in this video. It has been so difficult. The judges even said it. So what can we do? As for John's runway, I actually did like the top part of that hot look, but I agree with the judges. There was something that should have been done with the bottom part. I totally agree with what Precious said, that she could have done a mermaid cut in the bottom part, because that would have given the eyes a journey of like big seashell and then mermaid cut bottom. And then it would have had a story. Honestly, it still looked good though. Like if this was not a competition, work. Going now to Popster Bench. The moment she appeared on screen, I was already like laughing. Her face and her expressions and her body language were all so on point. During that entire performance, I was thinking, I told everyone here, I was like, she might just win the challenge. This is entertaining. And then she comes out in that runway. And to be totally honest, it didn't look that bad. Like I felt like it was serviceable. Here's something that I learned from everyone's grandmother, Katya. Reveals are supposed to look better as you reveal. And it kind of felt like Bench's runway was the opposite. But I still really thoroughly enjoyed her as Mayor Joy. Now this Mayor Joy character is based on a real life mayor, Joy Belmonte, the mayor of Quezon City. For those who don't know, Quezon City is, I think, the most queer-friendly city in the entire Philippines.
For example, here in Quezon City, we celebrate Pride. We have a commitment ceremony every year. We are now considered the safest space for LGBTQIA+ people in the whole country.
And also, the closest thing to like marriage that queer couples can have, you can do that in Quezon City, right? And we actually have a video about that, so at this point, y'all, it seems like a joke, but it's not. Like, we literally have videos about so many things that they've been referencing. Sending lots of love to Tita Baby. I was obsessed with this performance. For me, this was the actual winner because my eyes were fixed on those lips. I think in all of our heads, we don't see Tita Baby as a lip sync assassin because she's not like this boom ka ka kind of dancer. But lip syncing requires lip syncing, and she lip synced that roll the house down boots, mama. Her as Tita Needs was so fabulous. I really thought that she was gonna win. And she probably could have. I mean, I think it's a close fight, but it was one of the more minor roles, so maybe that factored into it. But Tita Baby is on an incline, okay? She has done so well last week, does well this week. For her runway, it feels like a callback to her business savvy Grim Reaper from Snatch Game. It's this executive realness, blanket, business look. It was fabulous. It was so on brand. Also, it's so entertaining when she explains her look, like she was like sleeping, but earning. Now let's take a trip to the world of Myx Chanel. That was a great performance. They were so right. I think that if anyone was gonna play the role of Glenda, inspired by, of course, Wicked's Galinda, it was gonna be Myx Chanel. Also, I can't believe how much she looked like Manila in that role. I kept seeing Manila Luzon when she was performing in the Rusical. That's on top of how fabulous she is, and I think at this point she is letting loose. Which is ironic because I think that when you're doing a Rusical, I feel like you're gonna have to like think about everything. The dance steps, the lip sync. It didn't seem like Myx was thinking about all those things. She really just was genuinely having fun. And look, bitch, it paid off. Her runway was also fabulous. It was so big. And usually when you wear something that big, it swallows you up. But she did not let the dress wear her. She wore the shit out of that dress. They said that they saw it on her face. I didn't. I just thought she looked pretty. But maybe I'm just stupid. Myx shared a very, very important detail about herself in this episode. And much like a lot of these queens who open up about really personal things, I'm really amazed at her bravery to be open about something like that because again, it opens it up to a lot of people who are experiencing the same thing or who are very close to these things and changes their minds about it or encourages them to connect with others in order to get support, get help, and to really open up their life as well. Because this is a TV show and a lot of people can see it. And I think that this is a really beautiful way to use the platform. And she is so right. When it comes to HIV, it's really not the disease that kills anymore. It's really the stigma that people attach to it that is really dangerous for people who have it. Now, because of this, we also included some resources for how to get help for people living with HIV, or if you have any questions, down in our description. So go check it out if you are interested. Zymba Ding! I was really scared for Zymba this episode because usually when you do well initially in the competition and then you start to like slide down, it's hard to get back up. Clearly in this episode, Zymba got back up and won the entire challenge. For me though, during the beginning of the Rusical, I was wanting more. I was really wanting more. I was like, this is dangerous territory, girl. If you don't do well. I felt like she was holding back. But during the end, when she was flying in the air and really giving it her all, that made sense. I felt like Zymba was saving it for that moment, which beautifully gave the LV character this kind of emotional arc, which was really an important part of the Rusical. On that note, she really, really delivered. One of the funnier moments in the entire Rusical was Zymba's song, Grabe Te. Yeah, it's gravity, but it's also this Tagalog term, Grabe Te, which means, wow, sis. Grabe is a Tagalog word that's like an expression when something is like very intense. Just anything that's exaggerated, we say, grabe. And then te is a shortened version of the Filipino word ate.
Pop off ate, I'm incredible. Pop off ate.
Now on the runway, I think that her look was, I think, also the best of the night. 2 for 2 for the girly. I love how it really showed off her figure. I think the placement of the flowers, the appliques were really, really smart. And so it gave her this really nice line and silhouette, which is so beautiful to look at on the runway. It really gave me a scare there, but she ended up winning and that is fabulous. Love that for her. By the end, sadly, it was Popster Bench and John Fedellaga in the bottom 2. That was not the bottom 2 in my head, but honestly, who was I gonna put in the bottom 2 in that episode? There honestly was no performance in that episode that I thought deserved to be in the bottom. At one point, I was like, this might be a non-elimination, because that's how good they were. We were really hoping for a non-elimination, especially because that was an iconic song in the lip sync. Dadalhin is a really big ballad hit from Asia's songbird, Filipino diva, and the queen of the entire music industry at this point, Regine Velasquez. And one of the lines in the song was kind of perfect for like getting eliminated because it was like, dadalhin lang pala ng hangin ng pangarap ko. The way I would translate that to English is, the wind just blew all my dreams away. Ouch. Broke all of our hearts, but John Fedellaga was asked to sashay away in this episode. Honestly, if they sent home any of the other girls, we would all still be upset. No one really deserved to go home that episode, and they're all really good this season. And it's just heartbreaking that John is not there anymore. I can't imagine next episode without her. By the way, Miss John Fedellaga has been leaving comments in our video, in our last video. Thank you so much for watching our videos, and we have so many more videos to come. So just like Miss John, leave a comment below and show some love. And me, John Fedellaga, we love you, and we can't wait to see what you bring forth to us next. We promised to teach you another new word, so it's time for vocabulary.
Bruh.
If you have not noticed, we tweaked the title a little bit because someone had a very nice suggestion, which is to change it to vocabulary. This week's word is deserve.
Deserve.
So it's really just the English word deserve. We just say it in a very heavy Filipino accent. But that is because we don't use it the same way Americans would say it. Because here, we say that for good things.
Congrats muna natin si
Deserve.
Maxie.
Deserve.
And we say that for bad things.
Thank you, J Queen. Deserve.
So for example, celebrated Olympian Carlos Yulo, who won 2 gold medals recently at the International Games of the Games, deserve. But also, if something bad happens to someone and they totally deserved it, deserve. Like when someone does something bad and then karma comes a knockin', deserve. Or when we get that lovely subscription from you, deserve. I think this is one word where you all can actually use it in your everyday lives because it's so fun to say. So start talking like Filipino drag queens. It's fun. Deserve.
Bruh.
I am so proud to be Filipino because what a time to be alive that so many fans from all over the world have been saying that Drag Race Philippines is the best drag race franchise out there. And I can definitely see why they're saying that. And it's been 6 episodes out of 6. No bad episode for this season. There's several episodes to go, and I can't wait to see how this season is going to end. 6 queens remain. Who is gonna make it to the finale? Now, before you leave, please subscribe to our channel because here in SISNE Pop, we promise to bring you Filipino pop culture so that you can understand Drag Race a lot more effectively, so you can laugh with us. We're sending so much love to all the queens, most especially Miss John Fedellaga. And we will see you all in our next Dragsplaining Philippines. See you then.
Deserve.